Yeah, you continue down the path, undisturbed for the most part. It's as emotionally disturbed as you currently feel after this conversation. You travel for maybe 15, 20 minutes. And you start to hear faint music,
What kind of music?
mostly EDM, maybe like a little. I got a little bit of a chuckle. That was sorry. No, it's like a folky music. Like it's hard to describe. It's faint and far away. It's upbeat for sure.
Can I ask for
Would you say it's riveting?
Riveting, yeah.
for my information? When you guys were in the Winter Queen's Feywild area, was it like, what was the atmosphere like? Was it joyful or was it kind of solemn or
It was
Yeah, it was
pretty
pretty-
like regal.
regal?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it was like a palace and a court, and it was pretty fancy.
Okay.
Like
This one's gonna be a
it's
tea party.
for
Gonna be like a picnic.
yeah.
It's
It
not
starts
just like
beatboxing to the
blatantly
music.
stolen from Lewis Carroll. Like it's not like how can I? You meet a pair of twins. They're Twiddle Lee and Twiddle Lum.
Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan.
Is there a little potion bottle that says "consume me"?
Is that what it's? I thought it was drink me.
Well, you're
Yeah,
not
no,
taking
but it's slightly
anything.
off
Oh
brand.
yeah.
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 You don't want to like get sued or anything,
Exactly.
right? Right?
Little potion ball that says "pound it."
Rip it and grip it, baby.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no. You start to hear faint music though. It is upbeat. It kind of sounds like Gerudo Valley from Legend of Zelda. Da-da-dun, da-da-dun, da-da-dun,
I was not
da-da-dun.
picturing that at all.
It's upbeat.
No, me
It's
neither.
upbeat like that.
Yeah.
It's very
yeah.
it's stringy. It's strings. It's not pipey.
Guitar-y.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a vibe.
And as you continue on the path, you see actually make a perception check.
Everyone?
Yes, everyone.
Ugh. 8.
A good start.
Directed by the
That's-
music.
No, that's nonsense. My die showed a 3 and a 16. That somehow landed awkwardly, but it picked the 5. I resent that.
13.
13, okay.
23.
Ooh, 23.
Better.
Alfonz, what was yours?
10.
10. 13, 23 both see this. Just off the path, probably about 30 feet, you see a small clearing and you see what appear to be a couple dancing to this music. They appear to be from this distance a masculine and a feminine figure, and they're dancing fairly quickly. It's a very upbeat music, and they appear to be dancing very quickly to it. It is like a partner dance. They're interlocked hands and like hands on waist. Like I don't want to say swing dancing because that's a little too like but like there it is this partner dance. You can see them kind of dancing in this clearing, probably 30 feet ahead and to your right off of the path. There's a small like just enough room for them to dance, it appears, in between all of these trees. A little bit of light coming down on them, and they're moving pretty quickly. 23 sees, in addition, there's not just this couple in this one clearing about 30 feet away. 100 feet away on the left-hand side and further into the forest on the left and on the right, you see more of these little clearings with more partners dancing and dancing. Perfectly in time with this faint music that you can kind of hear from the path. Should you point it out, the others could see as well.
Yeah, I'll point them out.
Yeah, the rest of you, as Ilikhal notes and like points out, it's like, oh, there's some right there, but also like look way over there and then way over there and over there and over there. Like it's almost it's a little bit like bird spotting in trees. Like you're like, no, oh, so there's another one. There's another one. There's another one. Like
As we get closer, do they look like human or?
they're the closest grouping is like it's off, like it's the 30-foot one is the closest, and that's 30 feet direct. That's the shortest distance from off of the path from you. They're humanoid. You can't discern race. You can't even really discern gender. You can only determine like masculine presenting, feminine presenting. But in each of these, they all appear to be dancing and just dancing and dancing and dancing.
Mhm. Does Pilot have actual ears?
Why?
I want to plug them.
You can deafen yourself. The through similar methods as plugging your ears. Yeah.
I turn to the group and say, if the music is affecting these people negatively, I don't want to hear it. So I
Z-
cover my ears.
Zhixil looks around and he's like, but they're dancing.
Are they doing it willingly?
He looks
Does
at
anyone hear the Macarena?
looks at himself. He's like, oh.
Because if the music's forcing them to dance, what's to stop it from forcing us to dance?
We can dance if we want to.
You can leave your friends behind.
Because if your friends don't dance,
And if they don't
something.
They're all friends of mine. What are we doing? We keep a walk. We're just gonna walk right by. Yes,
Yeah.
I
no?
guess I'll plug my ears.
Okay. Alfonz plugs his ears.
Yeah, I will. I've heard fairy stories.
Yeah, if Zhixil is like an expert in like fairy tales, is there like a fairy tale about being forced to dance or something?
There
Yeah.
are in real life.
You can continue down the path. Another less than 5 minutes, and you reach another archway in the trees, and it's very light on the other side. It's actually it's so bright, like you can't really see into the clearing much. You can see a few flowers and lightly colored grass, and you can hear voices.
Wait, did we clear the dancers?
Yes, I mean it's not too much further. Like it's like a round a bend. Like it's not. Might be another like 150 meters into the forest. Yeah, and so you reach this archway. It's fairly bright on the other side. Like it's the difference between like in the shade and in the sunlight is quite senses assaulting. You come to the archway, for lack of a better word, and you step in, and it's voices and chatter and laughter and all around. You immediately perceive there are just a lot of people, sort of. They appear to be she. They look a lot. Those of you who've been here, they look a lot like the winter she that you met at the banquet. Post you're speaking with Mab. They're all sitting and eating and drinking, and there's this long table lengthwise down. You've entered, and the table stretches out to your left and right. So you've entered almost from the side or the length of this room, essentially.
Can
Art-
I grab Zixil's arm real quick and just say, don't eat or drink anything unless we're given permission?
Noted.
Far to the right are 3 chairs. One very very tall backed. One on the left is slightly smaller, and the one to the right of the main chair is even smaller still. And as you look around, there's a band. There are a lot of people eating and drinking, and ringing out above all of this is just this bubbling laughter. This Wonderful. Yes. Another, please. And you look, and far to the right, sitting in the main chair at the head of the table, beyond the head of the table even, is, even from this distance, which is probably 40 feet, a being whose presence is commanding this entire room. She's sitting slightly above everyone else. She has long, feathered, like fiery red hair. It's probably down to like waist length, most of it going back behind her shoulders, but a couple like ringlets, slightly curling down to either side of her face and shoulders. She's wearing a gown of greens and yellows. It's perfectly cut to fit her entire form. Her face is sharp features. You can see the points of her ears sticking out of her hair, and she has this beaming smile. And in front of her is he's not a jester, but he appears to be telling a joke, and he goes into a different one. And as you watch, he finishes, and again, just this laughter. You hear it, and you're immediately like, you're tempted. You're like, I want to tell a joke now. I want to hear this laughter again. You have this impulse just deep within yourself that you want to do anything you can to hear that laughter again. You want to be the person to cause that laughter. And then she notices you, the group of you, and she goes, moment, and the whole banquet goes soft and quiet. And she says, hello, everyone. It appears that we have visitors. Please do come forward. And she gestures for you to come forward.
I go.
Mhm.
Go.
Mhm.
As you approach, you are face to face with the other side of the coin, with Queen Titania of the Summer Court. She's lounging back into her chair. There is a goblet and a cupbearer off to her right-hand side. And she is relaxed and smiling, beaming smile. As you approach, you note how tall she is. You notice this with Mab as well. As she inspected you and passed by, Mab felt large, like a large being, like a large presence. And Titania feels that way as well. She feels otherworldly. And as you reach the front of this banquet hall of forest canopy and light and music, you see the musicians off to her far right. They've all kind of gathered. They have all strange instruments. They're strings and horns and some types of like woodwindy, fluty, clarinet mixtures. It's all unusual instruments though. There's some sort of percussive and someone who appears to be a vocalist. But they've all gone silent. He says, visitors, come to my domain. How fare thee? Not all at once now.
I guess I'll take off my hat and just kind of like prestidigitate myself just to look a little cleaner, I guess,
Yep.
because we've been through shit. And just be like, Queen Titania, it is very nice to meet you.
Zhixil
We
bows.
Yeah, and I kind of do like a little kind of humble bow that I've been taught since I was probably a kid. We've come a long way to make your acquaintance.
Oh. It does appear you have, but you have me at a disadvantage. Could I have your name?
No,
My name
we may tell you our names. I am Ilikhal.
She nods.
My name is Alfonz.
I am Zhixil.
I bow, I look into her eyes, and I say, which name do you want me to say?
Hmm. She looks at you. She goes, "Yours I have heard before. And do not need repeated." She looks at the rest of you, and she looks at Ilikhal first, and she goes, "Your name is yours to keep. I shall not take it from you today." And she looks at Alphonse and Zhixil and says, "And thanks to your friend, I shall not take yours either."
What would have happened if she took our fucking names?
I don't think anything. I think
Probably
But
not.
nonetheless, it is so nice to have new visitors. Oh, and such cold visitors, though. Oh, very cold. And such unique. One lost, and one forgotten, one spoken for, and the Tintrick Dwarf. Interesting. Very rarely am I the one visited by fairy tales, my dear. Saph, as she laughs, sorry, Calcifer, pilot, as she laughs, you were taken out of the moment. You were taken to another moment, some other time, some other place. Standing to the right and behind this person you've come to recognize, but still don't know the name of. And you're standing at a table, a stone table. And across from you at this stone table are Queen Mab and Queen Titania. There's this large document, parchment laid out across the table. And the other members of your party, as you watch, this individual who you've come to recognize lifts a quill from the parchment. And that laughter that bubbles from Titania bubbles out again. But this time it's past her. And they overlap. And you're back in this moment as she finishes delivering her speech. Zhixil, as she gestures to each one of you and says, "The Tintrick Dwarf," you feel as if you've been punched in the stomach by a giant. The air rushes out of your lungs, and it's almost like you can't inhale.
Do I like
For a moment,
physically-
for a moment you see stars.
What exactly did she say?
She said, "The Tintrick Dwarf. Very rarely am I the one who is visited by fairy tales." And
Wow.
for a moment you double over. You all see Zhixil slightly like it's a oof moment. And she cocks her head and smiles and laughs again. This ringing laughter. And then she looks back at you, pilot, and says, "You're marked. Come hither."
I step forward.
"I see my sister has spoken to most of you. I'll get to you a moment, darling," she says to Zhixil. She stands up out of her chair and she approaches and she says, "Your peace. I will not have anyone bound by duty in my court, I guess I should say." And she says, "Your hand, please." And
I
she
give her.
and she goes and she like waves and says, "Be undone." And you watch as the marking that was on your wrist fades and dissolves into the air. Now that that's done, she walks over to you, Ilikhal, and she looks at you, and you do realize she is actually fairly tall. She is above 6 feet tall. And it may be shoes, it may be just the heels, who knows?
Still
Is she
taller
wearing
than the
heels right now?
pilot.
She feels,
Is she wearing heels right now?
Make a perception check.
I believe that's a 10.
She is not wearing heels, but the way she walks is as if she was. So she walks completely on the balls of her feet, heel in the air. As if, like, wearing imaginary heels.
I'm gonna kick those heels out.
So she walks up to Ilikhal, and she walks around you, and she goes, I see. You've been spoken for. But I do love to make my sister mad. Perhaps I'll make you an offer as well. We'll see. You do reek of winter, though. You are quite cold. She passes and she walks past you and she walks around Alfonz. And you, terribly, terribly smart, but indecisive. And terribly, terribly lost. And not quite charming enough for my court. No offense to you, darling, of course.
None taken.
And then she walks around you, Zhixil. And she whispers. No one else hears. I did not expect to be the first to name you, darling. But it's important that you know, as well as I, all fairy tales are real. And then she returns to her space at the front and says, now, what brings you to my court? My gatekeeper has let you in, and she looks over at the top of the table. And if you all look back, you see the cat again. He's sitting there, at the table, very, very politely, and he appears to be eating a pear. He's just kind of cutting it with wooden utensils. He appears to be cutting into a pear, and he takes a bite, and salutes. The gatekeeper, yes. Do tell.
I accepted the duty to bring a message from your sister.
A message. How quaint of her.
She asks you why you have yet to accept the mantle.
Why I have yet to accept the mantle. Perhaps I send you back with a message for her as to why she attacked me and my family, why she started this war. Perhaps I send you back in pieces. Or perhaps I send the original messenger back in pieces and then, or burned. Ooh, burned. Yes, maybe. Perhaps I ask her where my daughter is, because I'm sure she knows. One would think she would be preparing for war. My sister.
My fair queen, we are only the ones that were caught between this. What is occurring between you and your sister? We have dealt with many of the repercussions in our world, and we only seek to make sure that those that we care most about are returned without harm. If there is a feud between you and your sister, know that we had nothing to do with it.
That is something to say for those who were there the last time she was seen. I've asked the Watcher. And he saw you there with my daughter. And hers. And then she was attacked, as far as I know. And now she's missing.
Those were your daughters and Melt? Yours and your sisters?
In a form, yes. They were meeting with their guardians. Apparently, it broke out into an argument that you settled. And she says that the you and that you settled as you Ilikhal. Like a you. Ugh. Settled. And that was the last time the Watcher had seen her. And I'm much too old to believe in coincidences when ones that look like this, and she gestures off to her right-hand side, and the branches of the trees clear, and you see suspended, not hanging, suspended in the trees, vines wrapped around both arms and legs and slightly around his throat. You see Othlo, the messenger whom you helped find the Messenger's Gateway. When ones like this attack me and my family, it's not coincidence.
Is
was there.
Othlo in pain?
His eyes are really wide. He's awake. Actually, his eyes aren't really wide. It's been too long. His eyes are. He looks like he's starving. Like he's been there for a while. Because he has. It's been a couple weeks. Emaciated is the right word, right? Looks emaciated. He is completely removed of his armor. He's pretty much in his underclothes.
We were friends.
It's not.
kinda.
He doesn't look great. He doesn't look like on death's door, but like it looks like he came through the desert pretty much, like, and just stumbled into town. He's suspended by his arms in either direction by vines, and he doesn't look like he can move of his own free will at all. And he looks barely conscious.
am trying to stand my ground.
Okay.
What exactly has he specifically done now?
He came bearing false pretenses. He came bearing a message before you. After my daughter was attacked, he showed up and said, "Oh, weren't you? My queen has sent me on this mission, and she has asked me to bear a message asking why you have not come to accept the mantle. As if I had not just been attacked. So I've taken him prisoner, and there he's remained."
And what price do we have to pay to free him? Or what price do I have to pay to free him?
Him? Interesting. You feel some sort of bond with this one? A servant?
I've met
I
him
believe
once
we just-
before, and I do believe he was not. I believe he was doing his job.
Whatever feud there is going on between you and your sister, I can assure you that we common folk had nothing to do with it, him included. He was merely doing a task that your sister, as powerful as you know that she is, who is he to say no to her will? Come bearing a message for him to be tied up and put on display for your court. Now, I wouldn't assume myself one all powerful like yourself, but mercy is often a better tool than cruelty.
You do not know cruelty until you've met my sister.
Zhixil's looking.
We've met her, and I didn't see anyone tied to the ramparts of her keep.
So Zhixil's only encounter ever with Drow was the attack on the king. When he's looking at this Drow, does he look like those Drow? Because right now he's like confused. Like, what the hell are you guys talking about?
Also, just for the record, I've had Gerudo Town music on loop for the past half hour.
Nice.
If the drow you had fought were in their underclothes, yes, they would look very similar. He has dark skin. He has white hair. I believe it's described as a mohawk originally. It is a mohawk.
So he looks
Currently,
like,
he bears
yeah.
no insignia or anything. The drow you met definitely had like affiliations. Like if you saw like a white guy walk by in an Edmonton Oilers, is that right? Where they are?
Yeah.
Edmonton Oilers shirt, and then a different white guy walk by in a Maple Leaf shirt. Like, how similar are they? If they were wearing the
Not.
same,
Yeah,
just
They're
like
not.
there's
but as far as
no
like
yeah,
Zhixil,
as far as like skin color, hair color, eye color,
They're both
they're the same race.
yeah, because right now he's utterly confused as to why any of the party is going to bat for this guy when he's aware of the drow attack
Yes.
in the city, the drow attack on the king. Right now,
Yes.
like Zhixil is like, why are you?
Yeah, but
Sounds like
Martin,
Zixil's a little racist.
Yeah, you're
It
being
could-
real
it
racist.
could
All
be,
drow
but that's-
bad.
But that's all. That's literally all.
That's all he's encountered.
That's all he knows.
Yeah.
But you know drow.
Would Zixil?
No.
It's a race.
I mean, they do get a bad rap.
They are exclusively perceived for the.
As
I don't
evil.
want to get into like the actual racism of D&D.
Yeah.
But most
Yeah.
people's interaction with the concept of drow is that the drow live in the Underdark and they're slavers and they kidnap children. That's about as deep as it goes.
Yeah.
Zixil, this was the messenger we met, who started us on this whole thing, who was delivering this message to Queen Titania.
Yeah, I don't think when you've discussed this with him, you're like, oh, also he was a drow. If you had just like talked about it, you would have said like, yeah, we met. You actually, I think
Met
the
this
conversation
dude.
went. We met a messenger. We went and visited Mab, and met her court, and we met his dad, and then went on about our way. If like that was left up to Zixil's like imagination, he
Because
Yeah.
right now
probably wouldn't be like, oh yeah.
Because if the drow are servants of the Winter Court, at least from what I've been perceiving this entire time, what's for me to not think that all drow work for the Winter Queen?
You don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I know that, but like,
yeah. This
with
is the
all
first drow you've seen that's explicitly working for the Winter Court. You don't know that.
The other ones.
Yeah.
no,
Or
but
if they were.
but what I'm thinking of is the coincidences of the winter issues, although frost dragons and frost spiders,
Definitely.
and also drow appearing
Yeah,
when
we
the
did talk
drow
about
are
this a bit.
servants of the queen. That's why he's a little confused. as to-
There are some drow who are servants of the queen, at least, but we don't know how widespread that is.
And he called the other ones like servants of the spider.
Yeah, so like he
Oh.
said, they were corrupted.
Okay, so it could be okay.
hmm How far off the ground is he?
7 feet, like just above your head. His
Okay.
feet might be below like eye level for you. So maybe a little less. His butt is probably 7 feet off the ground. Would be like the fall if he just dropped. Let me get insight checks from everybody. Roll dice.
Rolling dice.
D&D.
25, not 20.
Let's
Nice.
go. That's
22.
awesome. Very good also.
Fat old 7.
Little
I
7.
got
So much better than the Winter Queen encounter.
23.
Jeez. Okay.
Everyone knows what's up except for
Ilikhal.
Ilikhal.
She angy. Like, man, this lady's pissed. The rest of you. Nice. As you've had this encounter, Zhixil, this does not include you for right now. The other two of you, yes. Comparing her to Mab is immediately what happens and consistently happens through your entire encounter so far is that Mab is freaking scary. Up front, scary. Like, seductress, dagger in the back, scary. You are on edge constantly, and it is this cold, dark, calculating presence. Titania wasn't scary until right now. And she was this happy and bubbly and laughter filled and having a party with all of her friends. And then this anger and rage and fire. And then you realize she's manic. 100%. She is the embodiment of mania right now. She is flip-flopping between this. Zhixil, you do realize is the mania part. You don't have the comparison of the Winter Queen as the opposite, but she is flip-flopping between party mode and burn someone alive, and then we're gonna go to dance, and then we're gonna eat, and we're gonna drink, and then maybe we chop somebody's feet off just to see kind of what happens, or we pull the wings off a fly kind of thing. And that is the kind of thing you are picking up. And as you look into her eyes, you see simultaneously the warmth of a campfire at night on a cold night. And that immediately shifts to a forest fire and everything burning to the ground. And you're in sight of Titania is that Titania is the fire. And she is the fire at its best, and she is the fire at its worst, and she is the fire at everything in between. Because a fire is not good or bad. A fire is. And that is what you have gotten out of these minutes speaking to her.
All I've gotten is she angry.
She angry. She real angry. She looks at Pilot. She sighs, says, a price. A price for something I don't want, but gain pleasure from having.
Phrased it the way you did.
Price.
Praised what?
She said, what would I have
Yes.
to pay? I believe is
Oh,
her.
yeah. I have the memory of a goldfish. We know this.
The Ilikhal and you are both himbos.
Yeah.
Just vibing.
No thoughts, head empty.
For that which I have but do not want, I will take from you the thing that you do not know you yet have, but will get.
Witchers.
Upon your next discovery of that which you want, I will take that, and you may have him.
Not worth it.
Repeat that
No.
slightly slower.
It is that which you do not yet have, but do want. So upon your next discovery of something you want, she will receive it instead.
Okay, guys, here's the plan.
That's awesome.
We immediately find a really nice looking cloak and make sure Pilot finds it, and then we're fine. Pilot will want the cloak, Titania will get it, debt paid.
Easy peasy.
Mm-hmm.
Easy peasy. Luckily, you already found that egg. You accept?
Please.
And once more,
I look
No.
the eyes with full conviction. Please.
I
Bryce
start walking over
heard
to Oathwood.
and witnessed. And the vines slowly release. Like, it's
Yeah,
not
I'm
like
gonna-
she doesn't drop him. She's not like that much of an asshole. They do release slowly, but he still crumples.
Yeah, can I try
I
grab
quickly go
him?
to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pilot just out here making deals with everybody.
Yeah.
Mm. That one's gonna have some negative repercussions.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
yeah.
guy's this
Yeah.
guy's not worth it.
Didn't deserve
Yeah.
what he was in, but
I go over to Othlo, like see if he's awake, try to offer him some
Yeah.
water.
He is. In terms of like status effects, he's unconscious. In terms of storytelling, he's semi-conscious. He can accept the water. He's not doing anything for a little bit though. Like he's gonna be a little bit of a burden for a minute.
About veil.
Hmm?
Is it linked to me personally? Is it linked to the cloak?
What?
My veil,
It is
like my
linked to
disguise.
it is linked to you.
I take off my cloak and I wrap Othlo around.
Okay. Also, his pack falls down. It actually like drops from branches pretty high up and thunks next to it, and it has his equipment, his sword, his crossbow, his shield.
But does it have his clothes?
Yes, and it has also all of his like, he had like chainmail and stuff like that.
I quickly put all the clothes like to cover for his dignity.
Yeah.
So that he's not underdressed.
But back to business. I think. Until my daughter is found, I'm considering this an act of war. And my court will march at midsummer, as that is when we are most powerful. I'm sure Mab expects this. However, should my daughter be returned to me before then, unharmed, perhaps a truce could be made. And she looks at you, Zhixil. I know you're quite burdened by this whole. She does like this like little like it's like a swirly like fingery flourish, and you see just like flames like lick out of her fingertips. Fate thing. I could remove that for you. You could come and join me, my court, and be one of my knights. And I would make sure you would never have to go back and fulfill that little prophecy. What do you say?
That's quite the offer, Queen Titania. But I must fulfill what I have been destined to fulfill.
Fine. The offer will stand.
Queen Titania, you did mention that both your daughter and your sister's daughter were in that glade, correct?
Yes?
If you don't have your sister's daughter, and let's say your sister doesn't have your daughter, who would have the most to gain from a war between the two of you?
To that I don't know, I would say. And that is unusual for me to say, as there is much that I do know, and very little that I don't. But I am inclined to believe that it is not the case.
You mentioned there was an attack. When we last parted with your daughter, what we witnessed was both sides leaving the glade amicably. Do you have any description of this attack? You know where it occurred?
Oh, of course. Near where this one came through the gate the next day. It's on the first day of spring. I do believe you met with my sister immediately following. Oh, what do the humans call it? Cadigan. The place. What do the humans call it? And the Cadigan like looks up from the table where he has been like actively not listening. Like he... Aye, the Cadigan, me. It's the place like sunset and the branch of a tree. My queen, they call it West Fork.
Your daughter was in West Fork.
Yes. The night before the first day of spring. That was the last
the
time I heard
names-
from her.
Does the name Servant of the Spider mean anything to you?
When our peoples first settled in your land, well, not yours. Apologies. She looks at Zhixil. In your land, barely a century out, Mab's people attacked the monarch of mine. Mab still claims that they were not under her control, but had been tainted by some spider, one they call Loth. If Mab can't keep a handle on her own people, they don't deserve to be hers in the first place. Or she should be held accountable anyway. That's how I view it.
What was your daughter doing in West Fork?
I do not know. She travels a lot through your realm, as do both of the ladies.
Were they both there that night?
I'm unaware of what Mab's daughter does.
How
She's
do
one
you
of the few-
know? How do
Her-
you know that your daughter was taken from West Fork? Do you have any description of the event?
I know many things, Goliathkin. And for centuries, I've had a connection with my daughter. Were she to die, I would know. But for her to be gone from my perception, it's entirely different. And that is what has happened.
I do believe it was the same night in West Fork. The city was attacked by a group of corrupted drow who set fire to buildings and ran away.
Perhaps. I'm unaware of human dealing most of the time.
I am
The
telling
veil
you that it
gets
did
thick.
happen.
Fair enough, then.
I do not know if it is related to your daughter, but it was odd.
Have we any other business?
Is the mantle here?
Darling. The mantle is not. You can't just reach out and take it. And as far as I know, Mab still wears it. I've yet to accept it.
So
I'm not going
my-
to easily be lured into a trap again.
So my comrades here were deceived.
No. They're
Um,
here to ask Titania why she's not accepted the mantle.
Oh, not accepted it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she didn't go to accept the
Yeah,
transfer
she didn't
of
go to the
power.
meeting. So
What, and you say trapped again, but you don't know what happened to your daughter.
you have only a hunch and a prejudice against your sister.
I don't think she answers that at all. She just kind of brushes that one off.
I keep pissing off very powerful
That is
people.
it's not worth her time to answer. The other eternal being that is this queen doesn't have hunches.
So if the mantle wasn't accepted, she's willfully allowing the natures of winter to proceed in the regular world.
So she's not so to have the transfer of the mantle, she would have to meet Mab in person. From what she's discussed with you right now, the next time she is meeting Mab in person is in open warfare.
Unless she gets her daughter back.
Unless she gets her daughter back.
And my queen, this open warfare, that would remain strictly in the Feywild, correct?
No matter to me where my battle takes place.
Well, it is of
Well, then
matter
it's-
to the people who inhabit our world.
You are aware,
They are
the-
of no matter to me either.
you must be aware that the forces of winter grow each and passing day out in our world.
So the forces of winter aren't growing right now.
They're just amassing.
They're just not correctly shrinking.
The seasons are just all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So winter is at its most powerful in the winter solstice, the longest night of the year.
Mhm.
Winter's at its least powerful in the summer solstice, the longest day of the year. And generally, the transfer of power happens on the first day of spring, which is actually closer to the winter solstice. But the mantle is transferred to allow summer to gain power up until the summer solstice, and then they wane. They wane fairly quickly, and then winter is allowed to gain power. And it mimics the physics of the world as well. It's the physical and the metaphysical, if you will. That's their metaphysical. The actual physical is the days are still getting longer and summer is getting more powerful, but that mantle hasn't been transferred like it's supposed to. So on the summer solstice, Titania will be at her most powerful minus the mantle. Mab will still have the mantle, but based on your conversation with Minolin, is the entire world will be redded with confusion of what the heck is going on at that point.
It's gonna be like clash, but there's no way of knowing what the outcome's gonna be because
Yeah.
one's all powerful, but the other one's got the mantle, so it's gonna be like, no,
Yeah.
I think it's virtual.
yeah.
It is strange why she wouldn't, take the mantle.
Well,
Because
at
he
the-
thinks it's a trap.
Powerful.
Yeah, at the
Yeah, I
transfer of
guess so.
power, Mab is technically stronger and is relinquishing that power. So if this attack happened the night before the transfer was supposed to happen, then the next time they would have met, Mab could have just. She's immortal. The word "kill" isn't right, but taken
Overpowered. attacked.
overpowered. Yeah.
What have you done to track down your daughter so far?
My agents travel through the world constantly. She is completely unaware to me, just unscribable, unfindable. But we look. But as far as we know, she is off the map, as your people say.
So why are you looking in our world?
If she was
Why
in,
aren't you looking in your lands?
if she was in my world, I would feel her and know.
From what your sister said, you, as the queen, have eyes through the worlds upon worlds upon worlds and gaze into even worlds like mine. You're telling me an all-powerful being like yourself couldn't simply look in the other places? Because we'll be going on a wild goose chase if your forces can't locate your daughter in a world that you clearly don't care about. Why should, say, the king want to aid you in your conquest?
My iterations of myself that you describe have not lost their daughters. As far as I'm aware. Only I have. Among this sphere, the only place I do not have eyes is the material plane. My daughter is my eyes there.
It's Avandra. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch.
No way. No way.
No way. This I got a hard no way.
Oh.
Kay's mad. Martin says no way.
There's no chance.
0.
He
Watching
jumps to a lot of
I'm
conclusions.
just letting all these gears turn. I'm enjoying this. I'm just watching minds be blown here. This is great.
It's a stupid conversation anyway. Start blasting. No, I'm just joking.
Oh,
Anyway, I started
mini. You don't
blasting.
want it on the table. That's all I have to say.
So you are saying that there will be war with your sister if your daughter is not found?
That is the way.
Conveniently
Well-
on your night of most power.
I do
Yeah, I
not
mean,
see
you're not
how-
going to ride to war while you're at your weakest, Kay. That's dumb.
No, I was, yeah.
I do not see how we have any hope of finding her if you cannot.
Perhaps you could, though. I cannot see on the material plane because I do not belong there. I belong here. Our daughters are our form on the material plane. They each have immense natural power, much as myself and my sister do. But theirs manifests more locally.
So, how do you think we have any hope of finding her?
If she's in trouble, then she will be protecting herself. Go where the seasons themselves are misbehaving.
That's the entire world.
It's the entire world that you've experienced, at least. This conversation has been enough, though. I'm going to return to my dinner.
Thank you, Queen Tatiana.
It's not her
Nice.
And then
Canon.
I go help Othlo stand up. And
Do we have
look,
your permission to leave with our friend Othlo?
You were never held here by me. As you start to leave, the cat again reaches out and pulls at your robe. Okay.
who?
Okay.
Okay.
Or Alfonso goes, "Hey, wizard.
Hey.
Come here. Come here. Come here." He says, "A gift from me. Next time, just befriend the tree." And he holds out to you. And it's just a little bronze acorn. Freely given.
Really accepted.